should do it. Order up! This is me last year in the midst of a too close to call mac and cheese cage match. 3 recipes from 3 of the greats: Gordon Ramsay, Thomas Keller, Anthony Bourdain. Each mac and cheese had its own little personality, and if I'm being honest, they were all knockouts. It was tough to pick a clear winner, so with my back against the wall, I declared the victor Gorthanies. And I thought that would be that. But ever since then, I've been wondering. Hello everyone, welcome back to my home. It's lovely to have you here. Please get comfortable. But I have been wondering, what if I didn't have to choose a winner? I took the best and my favorite parts of each one of those recipes into one. The creaminess and the gratin top to Ramsay's and Keller's, that was key. And the heat from Bourdain's. It would be the flavor and the cheese blends from Bourdain's and Ramsay's. And speaking of Ramsay's, I would just axe the cauliflower altogether. I don't want that. It's gotta go. Essentially building one mac and cheese to rule them all. And if this goes well, if it's great, I shall dub it Super Mac and Cheese. Who's with me? Who's with me? Okay. This episode is sponsored by Rocket Money. You know the feeling of realizing you've been paying for something every month and you have no idea why? You sign up for something and then you forget about it. Now it's quietly draining your bank account. Subscription after subscription, we sign up for all of these things. It's only a matter of time before some slip through the cracks. Happens to me all the time. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel those subscriptions, lower those bills, and just manage your money better. Once you connect all your accounts, Rocket Money takes your subscriptions, puts them in one place. Now you can see everything you're paying for, then you just pick the ones you don't want anymore. Rocket Money will help you cancel them with just a couple taps. It can also scan your bills and help you negotiate things like lowering your phone bill, cable. So these guys have helped customers save up to $740 a year when using the app's premium features. And over 880 million has already been saved in canceled subscriptions. If you want to stop your money from just disappearing, take control of your finances, click the link in the description, rocketmoney.com/antichef, or scan the QR code right there to get started for free. Thank you, Rocket Money. Starting off with a big pot of water. I gotta bring it up to a boil. Heavily salt it, say around 1.5 tablespoons. Big news over here, and I believe this is the first in anti-chef history, but I made my own recipe. Yes, taking the best bits of other famous chefs' recipes, but I made my own recipe out of those best bits. And I even printed it on paper. Didn't double-side it, that's how serious I'm taking this. It's got the ingredients, it's got the methods involved. If you would like to follow along or make it yourself, if it's good, I will link it in the description. Now I want this to be the smoothest operation you ever did see over here. So I have almost everything prepared, minus a couple things that I'm just gonna do right now before we get started. Can we beam in the Whiz Kid? Thank you so much, but not just yet. So first things first, we gotta talk about our cheese blend. Now, the anchor cheese will be cheddar. It's gonna be a sharp cheddar, and that's gonna be the star of the cheeses. 227 grams worth, or 8 ounces. Okay, next up is a Swiss cheese. This is Gruyere cheese, also acceptable is Comté, but this is what I'm going with, is Gruyere. It is a subtler cheese. It's a supporting character to the cheddar. I'm gonna add enough that you know it's there, not gonna overpower anything, you know? It's nuttier, it's like a bistro-esque, elegant kind of vibe to it that I'm adding to. That's what I was thinking. It's just a supporting character. 4 ounces, 113 grams worth. Next one will be Monterey Jack. Okay, so I am a big fan of this type of cheese. It's like a neutral flavor, but it's gonna add some creaminess. It's gonna give you the cheese pull. What's interesting about this is that Bourdain, for his melty cheese, used mozzarella, where Ramsay used Monterey Jack, and that was my preference. And I'm using the same amount as the Gruyere, which is 4 ounces, 113 grams. That's way too much. For some added saltiness, lastly, we have Parmesan Reggiano. I only need around 2 ounces of that. I'm gonna grate that one now because it's easy. There'll be a little that goes on top with the gratin, and then some will also go into the mac and cheese. For the rest of the cheese, just to save time, I'm gonna grate them through the food processor. Vroom vroom. Wonderful. So there's only one optional ingredient in this recipe, and this is going back to Bourdain's one where he said you could add in chopped ham. And I'm choosing to give them like a bit of a cube dice, but like a smaller cube dice. So whatever this is, just do one a courtesy dice while you're at it. Of course you don't have to add the ham if you don't want to. It's purely optional, but hey, why not, you know? All right, that is 4 ounces, 113 grams worth. Let's talk macaroni. I am using, of course, elbow mac, and I had to think long and hard about how much pasta I was gonna add into the dish, because I really like the creaminess of Thomas Keller's and Gordon Ramsay's, but I like the cheese content of Anthony Bourdain's. So the amount of pasta that I'm using has been considered. 12 ounces, 340 grams. There's a little left over, kind of tempted to use it all, but I'm not going to because everything has been well thought out, hopefully. Save the rest for arts and crafts. You gotta cook it until just al dente. Box says 11 minutes. I'm gonna make that like maybe 10 minutes. So I'm gonna check in 10 minutes. I think that should be a good way, because if it's under al dente a little bit, keep in mind it's still going in the oven. We're gonna be baking it. It's gonna all work out in the end. I just don't want mushy macaroni. Mushy macaroni. Mushy macaroni sounds like an old 50s jam. I don't know. Mushy macaroni. Those are done. And they are still firm. They're good. They're just under al dente. That's what I was after. Because I am gonna be leaving this to sit here while I do some other things, including talk to the camera right now, I was thinking, hey, should, I know it's a faux pas, but should I just rinse these with cold water to stop them from cooking so they don't go any further than where I want them to be? Answer is no. Do not do that. Hell no, because you're gonna wash the starch off, and the starch is what helps make this thing creamy in the end. It's what has the sauce cling to the noodles. Don't wash it with cold water. Instead, I was looking this up, to stop the pasta from cooking, I can add in a little knob of butter. Apparently doing this, adding the butter and moving it all around in there, getting them all coated, will prevent them from sticking together. Off to the side. So you know what I gotta do is make first a roux. That goes into a bechamel, and then we're going into a kind of like a non-traditional Mornay sauce / velouté.
What?
The saucepan on a medium heat. A roux is equal parts of butter and flour. It is equal parts butter and flour, but you gotta melt the butter first. I don't know what I was thinking there. 4 tablespoons of butter. Flour, which is 4 tablespoons. And I gotta whisk it in, and I have this really handy dandy tool, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's funny looking and it works like a dream. What is this tool called? Ah, okay, this is called a coil whisk. And yes, whisk for like 1 to 2 minutes, whatever feels right, until the flour is cooked and everything is looking smooth. Heated up some whole milk, 4.5 cups worth. It's just warm. Into the roux. And folks, this is what we call a bechamel. I'm gonna continue to stir and simmer this gently. This is starting to thicken. It's looking beautiful, smooth, velouté-esque. Coats the back of a spoon, no problem. That's lovely. Okay, now immediately turn the heat down low so you don't screw it up. 2 teaspoons of mustard powder. Love that in a mac and cheese. A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Little grating of nutmeg. So one of the most important ingredients for this super mac is 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. This is what Anthony Bourdain used. It is gonna be a fairly spicy mac and cheese, but I thought it was like lights out. So we're gonna see. So let's get some salt up in there. And either black pepper or white pepper. I'm opting for white. Get that nicely combined. Let's switch over to the real whisk. With the heat on low, or I just have it off at this point because this thing is already very hot, I'm gonna add in my cheese. Remember, cheddar, Gruyere, and Monterey Jack. Get the heat on low again, and let's melt the cheese. Forgot about my 1 ounce of Parmesan Reggiano. With the addition of the cheese, we have now turned our bechamel into a Mornay sauce sort of thing. Non-traditional, but you know. Right. In goes the ham. Here we go with the macaroni. In it goes. Stir it well. Get it all coated. I gotta say, I measured that all out perfectly. That looks perfect to me. Check the seasoning on that mofo. C'est magnifique. Touch more salt. And just crack in a couple more. And just crack in a little more white pepper. I would like around a teaspoon of fresh thyme leaves. Of course, to get them off the sprig, you just go the opposite direction that they are growing in. Whoop! See? Roughly chop them up as well. So just add the thyme into a bowl. This is just half an ounce, 14 grams of Gruyere. 1.5 ounces, 42.52 grams of Parmesan Reggiano. So I did put a lot of consideration into this next part with the breadcrumbs, because I do like a crunch on top. The breadcrumbs on top of Gordon Ramsay's were a much finer breadcrumb, whereas Keller's was panko, was like a Japanese breadcrumb. It's coarser, and I think that's the best fit for me in my life right now. 2 to 3 tablespoons worth. I'm gonna go 3 tablespoons. Generously butter up my baking dish. I've used this dish in the past. I know it's gonna do a fantabulous job. And then, ooh la la, mac and cheese into the dish. Spread the breadcrumb topping on the top. See, there's a risk of adding too many breadcrumbs. They start absorbing that runny creaminess. The addition of thyme may be a wild card. I don't know if it's gonna pan out for me with all the other flavors in there, but I thought I'd give it a whirl. Okay, so the oven's set to 375 Fahrenheit. I'm gonna tear up just looking at this beautiful thing. And bake it 15-20 minutes until it starts to bubble and it's like golden on the top. Now, if it doesn't become golden, then I'll use the broiler at the end, but I'll make that judgment call when I have to. For now, just stare at it, appreciate, into the oven. Good luck. After 20 minutes, we're bubbling, but we're not browned on the top. So how about the broiler for like a minute or so? Coming in very hot. Order up after you let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. Obviously, it's a little too runny right now. I'm not worried. I just need to let this rest for another like 10 minutes. There we go. That's what I was after. Transfer to the plate. I like it a lot. Wow. Loved everything about it. That was my ideal mac and cheese. It was creamy, and obviously when I cut into it initially, I was like, uh-oh, a little too creamy. Just let that sucker rest for another 10 minutes, 10, 15, and the structure was there. It figured itself out. That's the amazing thing about mac and cheese. It starts morphing into all sorts of different things. Now it's into something else completely, and then I'm gonna chill it overnight and have it tomorrow, and it's gonna be an entirely new thing, and maybe even better. What I thought was great about it was that it had the bechamel sauce mac and cheese, but also it was the very cheesy mac and cheese at the same time. It has taken components that I love from both into one. And it may not look like the sexiest dish in the world, but I don't care. Gratin on top was just right. It wasn't overdone, and the fresh thyme, which I was kind of worried about when I added it, because I was like, is this gonna work? But I thought it was great. The heat is my favorite part. It's got a little spice to it, a little zing, and you can easily tone that down if you want, but I just thought it makes it unique. Spicy mac and cheese, yeah. It is taking all my favorite bits of those 3 other chef recipes into one super mac. That's what it is, and that's what it is. Ooh, the reviews are in. I raced upstairs and gave the gal a plate of it when it was like hot and ready. She says, literally incredible. It's so f***ing good. Are you done filming yet? Which is almost. If you're curious, you want to see if it is truly a super mac and cheese, which I think it is, but who knows these days, right? You could think something different. The recipe is down in the description. Give it a try if you dare. It's spicy. I'm gonna go. Bon appetit. Au revoir. Bye-bye.